After a fantastic 3-year run, the Owl House has come to a close with the 1-hour series finale, Watching and Dreaming, which you can watch on YouTube right now if you live in America or have a VPN. And it's an official upload from Disney, so boosting those numbers means boosting the odds of more content from the Owl House in the future. Although a lot of viewers right now are rightfully mourning over the show being taken from us too soon, all I can really focus on is just how good the finale is. Were there some things I wanted to see that I didn't get? Sure. But given the show's undeniable popularity and Disney's streak of reviving all their popular shows, I don't think it's the last time we're seeing these characters. Getting dangerously close to the 2010s at Disney. I feel like it's a given we're gonna get at least a graphic novel, given that Dana's expressed interest in making one, and practically every book related to a Disney TVA show in the last 7 years has sold pretty well. So odds are, any loose ends or unanswered questions can be resolved in future content. Those aren't missed opportunities, they're just opportunities to be explored later. Of course, I do think there were some things I thought should have happened, like Hunter and Belos having some kind of interaction between each other, but none of it was enough to drag down the finale for me. Not to mention, I got to see 3 major theories of mine unfold before my very eyes, which was pretty cool to see. The team behind the Owl House did a great job wrapping up the story in these 3 specials. It must have been hard to pull off, but for the hand they were dealt, Watching and Dreaming is absolutely the best case scenario. All that being said, if you've been watching this channel for a while, then you know what the deal is. This video is going to be mainly focused on the ending, with a full breakdown covering the entire special later on in the week. So be sure to submit fan art for the Final Fan Spotlight by tagging us at Roundtable Vids on Twitter and Instagram. So to recap, Watching and Dreaming picks up immediately where For the Future left off, with the Collector capturing Camila and Luce's friends, while trapping Luce, King, and Ida in their worst nightmares. Thankfully, Luce is able to recognize what's going on, freeing herself from the nightmare, and recovering Ida and King with the light glyph. As it turns out, this twisted game was another idea planted in the Collector's head by Belos, who's still in control of Rain's body. Collector really wants to be friends with the trio, and is afraid that all of this is only making things worse. But after Collector makes the mistake of revealing the Titan's ability to cancel out the magic of the Archivist, Belos realizes he may have had a trump card all along. So he suggests that the Collector should play his games with the trio in person, a perfect distraction so that he can run off to the castle and attach himself to the Titan's heart. Side note, I voiced grievances around the characterization of the Collector in a video, taking a look at Season 3's first 2 specials a little bit ago, but one line from Luce changed everything for me.
Do you not understand what death means to mortals?
Rain is able to fight off Belos' possession, trying to stop the mad lad from reaching the heart, but ultimately Belos gets what he wants and slowly gains control over the Boiling Isles. Meanwhile, the Collector grows frustrated at Luce, Ida, and King's resistance to his games and quits, prompting Luce to finally connect with him. This paves the way for the Collector to dive into his backstory, revealing that his siblings, the Archivist, pulled a pink diamond and ditched the Collector on the planet. Luckily, Collector bonded with the Titans and got along with them just fine, but the Archivist feared the Titans' ability to cancel out their magic, so they began to wipe them out one by one. King's father was the last Titan standing, so he hid King from the Collector and sealed the demigod away, believing Collector to be just as bad as the others. The Collector uses escapism to cope with all of this, but Luce helps him work through these difficult emotions by explaining her own journey, taking him to familiar locations from throughout the series, as she stresses the importance of forgiveness and kindness. But the moment is cut short when they realize the Titan is slowly coming to life under Belos' control. They head to the castle where Belos creates a dragon-like extension of himself that begins to poison the Boiling Isles with its flames. The Collector, learning from Luce, tries to reason with Belos, but this ain't no Steven Universe! So Belos attempts to blast Collector, but Luce intervenes, taking the hit for him. She tries to explain that although Collector had the right intentions, Belos isn't someone you can reason with. It's far more complicated than that. Things go from bad to worse as Luce realizes she was hit, her body getting consumed by the dark fungus as it eats away at her. Not too long after, Luz Noceda dies right in front of her found family's eyes, dissipating into light, a tragedy that her mother can sense even when trapped as a puppet. This is where things go off the rails, as Ida and King get consumed with grief and go apeshit, fighting Belos off pew 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 pew, while Luz wakes up in Purgatory, the in-between realm, and meets Papa Titan, voiced by the one and only Ego Raptor? Oh shit. And he's such a dad. Look at the fit. When the Mystery Shack putting up pre-orders for those glyph sweatpants, Papa Titan reveals that he's been trapped in this realm for a very long time, presumably because it takes Titans hundreds upon hundreds of years to die of natural causes. He's basically 95% dead, but because he was watching over King all of this time, he's also been able to watch over Luz and guide her through glyph magic as a thank you for being kind to his son. He also makes it clear to Luz that Belos has never had humanity's best interest in mind, and that his cause was just a front for what he really wanted to accomplish, being the hero in his own deluded story. Before Belos can gain full control of the Boiling Isles, Papa Titan gives the last of his life up to Luz, not only reviving her, but giving her an amazing transformation. Titan Luz, aka Full Power Good Witch Lazura. This is seriously one of the coolest designs in the entire series, hands down. I love the black eyes, Titan claws, purple color scheme, and ball of light above her hat. It definitely drew some inspiration from Bleach. If you know, you know. From here, we get an epic fungus battle, with animation provided by Smallboo, who also did guest animation on Amphibia, with this confrontation ending in Luz removing Belos from the Titan's heart. I think a lot of people were hoping that a certain moment from the first episode would be called back to in this moment, and they delivered!
Now eat this, sucker! Now eat this, sucker!
This brings us to the ending. The Boiling Isles is saved and everyone made it out alive, including Belos, who's on his last legs but refuses to give up the grift quite yet, trying to convince Luz that he was under a curse and begs her to make peace with him, which of course is another attempt at hijacking someone's body. Now, this is my own interpretation, and I know people will disagree, but I actually think the boiling rain melting Belos away while Luz stood there and watched wasn't just a poetic moment, but something Luz herself actually caused to happen. She couldn't bring it to herself to kill Belos directly with her own bare hands, so she used the last of her Titan magic to summon the boiling rain from the clouds above and let nature take care of the rest. Well, Ida, King, and Rain took care of the rest, but you get the idea. I don't know. I just don't find the rain coming and going within 30 seconds to be a coincidence, especially when they made it a point to show that the boiling rain doesn't affect Luz in her Titan form, but instead the raindrops dissipate into purple and yellow sparkles. In the aftermath of all this insanity, the Collector helps return everyone back to normal and reunite with their families. I love that the last we see of Odalia is her sour stare at Amity and Alador's loving reunion. It's hard to imagine that she stuck around the family after all of this. I mean, she supplied Belos with Abomatons knowing that his end goal was genocide. It's kinda hard to bounce back from that. The highlight of the scene for me, however, was seeing Hunter accept Darius as a father figure and finally show off his newfound love for wolves and sewing to him. It was a long time coming, but did not disappoint. And hey, the Demon Realm has its original green and yellow sky back. Nature is healing. The inhabitants of the Boiling Isles start to rebuild their society tyrant-free. But there's definitely an adjustment period, with corrupted coven heads like Terra Snapdragon, Adrian Gray, and whoever the potions dude is. After reuniting everyone with their loved ones, the Collector decides to return to the stars, understanding that he has a lot of growing up to do. And this was a resolution to his character that I'm pretty happy with. It's way better than him being sealed away again or living the Demon Realm consequence-free as if everything is peaches and gravy. Also, a lot of people ask, but peaches and gravy is a Scott Pilgrim reference? Like, to the novels? It's not just some weird thing I say, but just a random reference that barely anyone understands. But hey, maybe the anime will change that. And in a moment that initially broke my heart the same way watching the Calamity Box crumble did, Luz realizes glyphs no longer work, signifying an end to this chapter of her life. Aside from her talisman, she can no longer cast magic. I'm a sucker for bittersweet endings, so although they kind of backtrack on this decision in the epilogue, I thought this was a good way to tie up glyph magic. It was something unique to Luz that put her on par with other witches on the Isles, but that was also when she was using the Boiling Isles as an escapist fantasy, aspiring to be the best witch she could be. Now this place is a second home to her, where witches are just people, and she doesn't need magic to be on par with her peers, because she was never lesser than anyone. She can just be herself, knowing confidently that the real magic wasn't in the glyphs, it was in her. As corny as that sounds, this is followed by a massive time skip where Luz has graduated high school, packing up all of her things to attend university in the Demon Realm at the University of Wild Magic. Take that, Philip, you dickhead! We see so many photos of Luz's bedroom, such as her graduating with V, showing they maintained a close sibling relationship throughout the years. She continued to have adventures on Earth and in the Demon Realm with her friends. Ida apparently convinced Camila to try apple blood. Love seeing those two moms hit it off. And the gang even had another Grom! But the most heartwarming photo of the bunch has to be King finally getting the chance to play catch through a baseball game with Ida and Hootie. That's just the sweetest thing! And in classic Luz fashion, she couldn't just settle on one major, so she's going for all of them. Explaining that although she hasn't had glyph magic, her and Stringbing have figured out a way to perform spells. Throughout the rest of this epilogue, we're given a ton of information. The Nosedas bought the old abandoned house as it has a new portal door installed. People now inhabit the Titan's raised arm. Hunter is embracing his roots and has taken up palisman carving, with palistrum wood once again abundant in the Isles, hoping the Bat Queen and Del take care of the palisman. He also has a new palisman named Waffle, who Dana likes to think as Flapjack's little sister. Speaking of Flapjack, not only does the fallen soldier have his own tombstone, but the squad all have matching Flapjack tattoos. I already know the fandom is about to get the exact same tattoo in real life. I can't blame ya. Maybe I'll join ya. The Isles is still in the rebuilding stages after all these years, but have largely recovered. Kikimora is finally helping out, and Mathalomew finally grew an actual mustache. Lilith is still working at the library with the help of Hootie and Amity, the latter of whom seem to have recovered a book on the war between the Titans and the Archivists. And oh my god, Lilith's Harpy form! Finally! Hexside is back up and running with all the students learning from multiple tracks like Luz once did, as evident in their uniforms. And Alador has finally cracked the code on removing glyphs. And the first witch we see have his glyph removed is the first one we saw get a glyph placed on him back in Convention. I love how this is a mutual effort, as it illustrates that moving on from Belos requires group healing. After all, his actions impacted everyone. Also, Rain with the tear-shaped scars is metal as fuck. In the center of the Boiling Isles, where the castle used to be, now lies the University of Wild Magic, which is for all intents and purposes an actual owl house, a giant tree. Professors at this university include the Keeper of the Looking Glass Ruins, Edric, Gus, who finally has locks, and is running an exchange program, implying that the human realm and demon realm have actually formed some pretty strong relations. The headmaster of this university is none other than Ida, which is a perfect end for her given that it was established in season 1 that she actually does love learning. She just didn't thrive in the system that Belos created. Considering I had a theory that she would become a teacher at Hexside in the early days of season 2, I'm very happy with this resolution. She also has a sick hook where her right arm used to be. King, now having his initials engraved on his collar, has gone through a noticeable growth spurt, but is still far off from becoming the absolute colossus his father was. Camila and V escort Luz to her quinceañera, a special celebration to thank Luz for helping rebuild the Boiling Isles through her 15th, 16th, and 17th birthday. So you know, she missed when her actual quinceañera would have been. King also reveals that he's able to create glyphs of his own, though they're different from his father's, with the new light glyph now including Titan horns. Talk about sequel bait. After everyone watches a light show courtesy of the Collector, they thank him and the audience by waving goodbye. No Adalia in sight? Ha! Sucks for her! And with that, the Owl House comes to a close. And man, what an ending! I definitely think a lot of people will finally remember this ending and have it live up with the greats, like Sozin's Comet, a regular epic final battle, and the hardest thing. And although the show is over, we're just getting the ball rolling with content. Aside from a proper breakdown of this finale, there's been a lot of topics I've been dying to dig into, but couldn't until the story was complete. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, so you don't miss a single video. But for now, what did you think of the Owl House's finale? Loved it? Did you want more? Let us know in the comments down below. And keep the conversation going over on Twitter and Instagram at OffShootVox and at Roundtable Vids. If you enjoyed this video, please sure to like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. See ya!